In your face, all over the place. We're online 24/7. 24/7. You're listening to the hottest internet station.
Radio Hall of Fame basketball. The first NBA radio for all the fans around the world. Radio Hall of Fame basketball. We talk about NBA. We talk about passion. We are your radio.
How did it come to this with Kyrie Irving and LeBron James?
Kyrie Irving doesn't want to be LeBron James' little brother. He doesn't want to be LeBron James' sidekick, and he doesn't want to play for an organization in the Cleveland Cavaliers who would evolve everything around a guy that's going to, in all likelihood, leave after next season while he's stuck there for the remaining 2 years of his contract after next season. His attitude is if LeBron James is going to leave, everything's going to change, and I don't want to be stuck in a situation that I don't want to be in because I couldn't see the forest from the trees. And, oh, by the way, LeBron James, the best player in the world, talking about departing elsewhere. What am I, chopped liver? I can play a little bit, too. I'm a closer. I'm an assassin, and I'm his teammate. So if he's thinking about leaving after next year, what does that say about what he thinks about me?
All right, so now let's unpack that a little bit. So then why not stay in Cleveland? If he feels LeBron James is going to leave, then the Cavaliers become his team after LeBron James leaves. Is it because that didn't work the last time?
Well, my question to you would be, is that a trick question? We're talking about Dan Gilbert here. Dan Gilbert, who's struggling business-wise in Detroit. Dan Gilbert, who doesn't make the greatest decisions in the world. Dan Gilbert, who let David Griffin, his general manager, go when the man was on the phone working out a deal that would have acquired Paul George and Carmelo Anthony to Cleveland. This is a man whose contract expired June 30th, but you let him go just a few days before the NBA draft, thereby handicapping everything that your front office was looking to do. That same Dan Gilbert, who hasn't really gone about the business of ingratiating himself with LeBron James. They talk, they're respectful, they communicate, they conduct business, but it's not like LeBron James is going to go out of his way to want to stay, nor anybody else in Cleveland for that matter. Is that the Dan Gilbert that you want to rely and stake your future on if you're Kyrie Irving? I think it's safe to say there are better options.
Okay, so now let's examine this from LeBron James' perspective. He says he's not going to intervene in this. He's going to let the Cavaliers handle the situation with Irving. What does that tell you about what he's thinking?
Well, what it tells me is that LeBron James wants to make sure that the world knows he had absolutely nothing to do with Kyrie Irving deciding that he wanted to be traded. Now, he may not have instigated the process intentionally, and I think it would be unfair to LeBron James to accuse him of such a thing. But if you're Kyrie Irving, LeBron James clearly has a lot to do with why you've decided that you want out. Not to mention the fact that, according to my sources, they believe LeBron James had everything to do with news getting out that Kyrie Irving wants to be traded because Kyrie Irving and his representation and others met with the Cavaliers a couple of weeks ago, and not a word got out until recently. They believe that LeBron James got word of it and was put off by it and leaked it. I'm not going to accuse LeBron of such a thing. I don't know that to be true at all, but I know that's what Kyrie Irving believes. The mere fact that he has that question says it's time to move on, which is why New York is on the phone, has been on the phone today. San Antonio has called people today. Minnesota has certainly had called people today. And you know Pat Riley and the Miami Heat have done the same.
All right, Stephen, we always appreciate your insight, man.
No problem.
Now, there's really not a veteran out there. I know people are going to leap to Carmelo Anthony. I don't see the Cavs trading a one-for-one trade like that. So it's going to be a difficult situation, and they've got a new general manager. It's a tough thing for him to inherit, Kobe Altman.
Well, you sort of touched on this in a couple of spots, but how much is this about LeBron's uncertain future in Cleveland, or how much is it about Kyrie really wanting to be, quote, the guy for another team?
See, Kenny, I mean, maybe we'll get Kyrie to explain this, but he hasn't explained it yet. I reject the concept that he wants out of Cleveland because he's afraid LeBron is going to leave in a year. If he wants his own team, why not play this year with LeBron and then have your own team if he leaves? And he's got 70 million reasons to do that, because if he gets traded, he loses the right to sign that contract extension that Lisa just talked about with John Wall. That, you know, that he would potentially get 70 million less on his next contract. That's why the league put this in. So I don't understand the reasoning that Kyrie would want to leave because he thinks LeBron's future is in doubt.
Lots of information, but in a word, Brian Windhorst is puzzled. Thanks for your time. So Kyrie thinks he was ready to carry a team, and he was impressive this last season. The Cavs offense ran almost entirely through him. LeBron off the court, he averaged over 35 points in 36 minutes in those situations compared to 23.2 and 36 when they shared the court. But is it enough? The Cavaliers would have ranked 6th in the NBA in net efficiency with just LeBron on the court last season. Still very good, but with just Kyrie, Cleveland would have ranked dead last. So the question remains, can he be number one somewhere else?
So let's keep talking about it. For more perspective, we bring in our Adrian Wojnarowski, NBA insider. Adrian, the question remains, we're going to keep asking it over and over until we find out the answer, probably hear from him. Why did Kyrie ask for this trade?
Well, Kyrie Irving sees a future right now in Cleveland of great uncertainty. It's not only Kyrie Irving who's not committed to a future in Cleveland. Right now, it's LeBron James who's not committed to a future in Cleveland. LeBron has stayed on short contracts. He could be a free agent after next season. And sources tell me that Irving sees a roster in Cleveland that if LeBron leaves, that does not fit Kyrie. If you're going to build around Kyrie, you're going to play fast. His athleticism, speed, skill. Right now, they're built to play in the half court. They're built around LeBron, and rightly so. But without LeBron committed to the future, and with certainly a lot of sense that he's going to really explore free agency next year, I'm told that Kyrie Irving wants to be proactive on his own situation, his own career.
So new GM, Kobe Altman, you releasing this news today, inheriting quite a very peculiar instance here as this request came through today. How is Cleveland's front office planning now to respond to this request?
Well, as happened last week, the trade request from Kyrie Irving's camp. So they've known about this, and they've known about the unrest here for some time. Kobe Altman will be formally announced as the new general manager here very soon, sources tell me, and he's been running this front office. And since the departure of David Griffin, he's made deals. He's been the point person for this organization. And now they're in a position where they have time. They have time before the training camp starts. There's tremendous interest in Irving all over the league. There are very few teams who aren't going to and haven't already inquired with Cleveland about possible deals, what players on another roster that Cleveland might be interested in for Kyrie Irving. You had a bunch of teams in the top of the lottery this year who drafted young point guards who, certainly Kyrie's 25 years old. He's got a big future ahead of him. So they have time to sort through this. They don't have to make a quick decision. But you're going to see Cleveland's front office with Kobe Altman now really exhaust every scenario and see if there's a deal worth doing for Kyrie Irving. Then you may see them do that prior to training camp.
Thanks, Woj. So let's take a look at how we got to this point. July 10th, 2014, Kyrie signing that 5-year extension with the Cavs. The very next day, LeBron announced that he was coming home to Cleveland. Just over a month later, the Cavs acquiring the final member of their Big Three in Kevin Love. Teams made every NBA Finals since, bringing Cleveland its first NBA title in 2016. But another finals loss to the Dubs this year has led to a tumultuous offseason that saw GM David Griffin step down. So you see June 2017 lose the finals to the Warriors. There's Griffin, who has close ties with Kyrie. We'll see how that storyline plays out. And since then, the Cavs have made very few moves to bolster their existing roster. The team had no...
After we sort out all this other stuff. Maybe a mid-level exception. That's our way of delivering the news that Irving has asked Cavaliers to trade him. Sources tell ESPN he wants a bigger role with a different team. Doesn't want to play with James anymore. Told the Cavaliers the teams on his preferred list are the Spurs, Knicks, Heat, and Timberwolves. Irving has 3 years, including an option year, and $60 million remaining on his deal. Now, his career started off on a high note. He was Rookie of the Year 2012. If he gets traded, here's what his new team is getting right now. He averaged a career-high 26 points per game last season. He's been at his best during the finals. His scoring average there ranks in the top 10 all-time. He isn't exactly the strongest defender, though. He ranked among the worst defenders in the league statistically last season. Brian Windhorst broke this story and joins us now on SportsCenter. So, Brian, what's up with the timing of this? Why is this happening now?
I don't have an answer for that, Stan. Kyrie, when he signed with the Cavs back in 2014, he signed thinking he was going to be the franchise player. He found out 10 days later that LeBron James was coming. And so it's always been a struggle for him. And he had described that he wanted to be on a championship contender as opposed to being on his own. And obviously, his feelings have changed in the last month. Now, whether that was David Griffin leaving, whether that was something else that we don't know yet, I'm sure at some point he'll get to explain it. The Cavs obviously are frustrated by the request, also by the timing, because had he made the request earlier around the draft, they would have potentially had options that are better than exist today. But it is a little bit puzzling about the timing. But there's never a good time to deliver bad news to a team, and so I guess that's what happened with Kyrie.
Right, they could have possibly been in play for Jimmy Butler or Paul George on the other end of that trade, but those aren't options now. Okay, so now he still has 2 years and an option year left on his contract. So what kind of leverage does he have to actually force a deal?
Not very much. I mean, I think if you look at the difference between a guy like Paul George, who had 1 year left on his contract, and a guy like Jimmy Butler who had 2 years, it was an easier trade for the Bulls to do, and they got a better haul. So Kyrie can give the Cavs a list, and that list might incite those teams to give more in a trade because they might be able to keep Kyrie past this contract. But the Cavs can deal with whomever they want to deal with. So I don't know how realistic any of those teams are for Kyrie going forward.
His list: Knicks, Heat, Wolves, and Spurs, according to the reporting that we've seen. Best case scenario or likely ending to this, what do you think happens here?
The Cavs, I think, will eventually have to trade him. He is now pretty much across the Rubicon with LeBron James. When he met with Dan Gilbert at this meeting about a week and a half ago or so, he told him that he didn't want to play with LeBron anymore. Yes, he wanted his own team, but he just wanted to be away from LeBron. And LeBron is aware of that, and I don't think you can go back with that. Now, whether or not this is a good decision for Kyrie, he's put himself in a tough spot. He will now have to prove that he is a player that can stand on his own, and maybe he will. Maybe this will end up being a great moment for him, but he's now put himself in a tough situation that he has said he wants to be away from LeBron James. We haven't heard that happen too much. Most star players in this league are trying to figure out how to get to play with a guy like LeBron James. So, I think the Cavs will ultimately agree, and they will probably weaken themselves as a team. But LeBron will show up for training camp in October, ready to try to compete for a championship with whoever the Cavs bring to camp, and he will move on from this. And he's moved on from players in the past and felt pretty good about his results.
All right, this is a story we'll be following, of course, so that means we'll be talking again soon, Brian.
That's right.
Now, Irving might want a bigger role, but it can't get much bigger than playing with LeBron James. He's averaged more points with James than in 3 seasons without him, and he's been able to
face all over the place. We're online 24/7. 24/7. You're listening to the hottest internet station.
Then my phone began to explode. Yup. Kyrie Irving suddenly wants to be traded. What is happening? Why is this the greatest NBA offseason of all time? I'm not sure. And I also am not sure what this trade means exactly right now. I mean, we have no idea what the Cavaliers are going to do. They could just tell Kyrie, sorry, you're signed to us until 2019. We're not going to trade you. And even if they do trade him, we have no idea where they're going to trade him or who they're going to trade him for. Which is why instead of a more formal main channel video, we're going to do a 2K rebuild kind of thing right now. Now, if you've never seen one of these, don't be too put off about the 2K rebuild part. Yeah, we're using 2K to do this, but this video is really just a chance for me to give my thoughts on what's happening right now, to give my thoughts on what could happen to Kyrie while this news is still new. Of course, if Kyrie does end up getting traded, then we'll be able to react to this properly, and I'll be able to make a more in-depth main channel video. For now, though, we have a lot to talk about. I mean, I'm controlling the Cavs for this. I guess we'll do 2 seasons, but I mean, what future do the Cavs have if they end up trading Kyrie? So right now I'm just gonna see what 2K says a good trade would be for Kyrie. But yeah, Kyrie and Kevin Love both could leave after the 2019 season. And we all know LeBron James could leave next summer. So there's a good chance that this Kyrie news is confirming every single Cavaliers fan's worst nightmare. LeBron James probably has a very good chance to be on the way out, especially if they end up trading for a young prospect for Kyrie, which if the Cavs think they're gonna have to blow it up is obviously the best move they could make. And that's gonna be the move that we make. We're gonna trade for a young player, and we see right here Andrew Wiggins and Taj Gibson for Kyrie, and we could get Draymond, which is just hilarious. But yeah, I have been seeing the Timberwolves as a probable destination for Kyrie. That's at least what people have been saying. I'm not exactly sure how they would make that work. They can't trade Jeff Teague because they just signed him in free agency. I mean, I don't think they're gonna trade Andrew Wiggins. That just seems a little insane. And I don't think a starting lineup of Jeff Teague, Kyrie, and Jimmy Butler really makes sense. I feel like Andrew Wiggins fits in better there, right? But I mean, for the sake of this rebuild, we're gonna do what's best for the Cleveland Cavaliers, which means we're going to trade for Andrew Wiggins. I just think that's what the Cavs are gonna end up doing if they actually do end up trading Kyrie. They're gonna go young, I think. And this would definitely be an ironic kind of twist, seeing as just a few years ago they traded away Andrew Wiggins for Kevin Love. Now again, if you do not agree that this is realistic, it doesn't really matter. We're still talking about the rumors here during this rebuild. The rebuild's just kind of, some extra entertainment. So, of course, if Kyrie actually gets traded, I think that makes the likelihood of Derrick Rose getting signed increase a lot. Now, he's not getting $20 million. 2K's so dumb. We wouldn't be able to come close to giving that to him, and I'm not sure how to hack this. Okay, so the 76ers ended up signing Derrick Rose immediately, so we can have him for nothing. No, we can't. We still are over the hard cap. Okay, I had to restart this whole thing and just assign Derrick Rose to the team, but now we're getting Gorgie Dieng too, who has more trade value, so it all worked out. Okay, so this would be the Cavaliers starting lineup after all of this happens. Derrick Rose, Wiggins, LeBron James, Kevin Love, Tristan Thompson. I mean, I don't know. That's a pretty good starting lineup from what if we have to trade Kyrie. So let's just start Simmons, see what happens. I mean, like I said, this is a pretty good lineup. It's actually way better than you would think. I think the main thing here would be Derrick Rose. Now, I just made a video on Derrick Rose. I said I was talking about whether Derrick Rose is going to be the only MVP to never make the Hall of Fame. And there's probably a good chance that he will be the first MVP to not make the Hall of Fame, unless the Hall just inducts him because the Hall of Fame is stupid. However, I did say in that video that the one thing he should do if he wants to get his career back on track would be to join a team like the Cavaliers or the Spurs, or just a contender that could use a sixth-man point guard that could put up tons of points off the bench. Because just looking around the NBA right now, I mean, Derrick Rose wanted to be a starting point guard, but there aren't many starting point guard positions available. The team is not doing the best. However, if Kyrie Irving actually gets moved, I mean, there's a chance that Derrick Rose starts next season as the Cleveland Cavaliers starting point guard. What other options do they have? Yeah, they could trade for a young point guard. Just thinking off the top of my head here, Eric Bledsoe is probably available in Phoenix, right? I would say that would be a potential trade candidate. So yeah, I mean, maybe they go not totally young. Maybe they try like an Eric Bledsoe type who's not old, but entering his prime. This is just very confusing. One of the number one rumors right now, reported by Woj, is that Kyrie Irving wants to go to the San Antonio Spurs. Now, I don't know what assets the Spurs would even possibly give up. We'll let this sim. I'm going to look at the San Antonio Spurs roster right now. Yeah, so just looking at the San Antonio Spurs roster, I think they'd have to give up LaMarcus Aldridge in a trade. I mean, they could just trade Tony Parker, I guess, but that just makes no sense for the Cavs. The trade would work. It works in the trade machine, but the Cavs would be just way better suited just keeping Kyrie, which I think is definitely a possibility here. Maybe they just tell Kyrie, too bad, man. We've got you for another year. We're going to use that other year. See here, we finished as the 4th seed in the East, and we lost in the first round of the playoffs. Would that happen? No, I don't think so. 2K's roster and sim engine are just very questionable. We'll just sim to the end of the playoffs here, but we see the Bucks as the 1 seed. If Kyrie gets traded for a younger player and the Cavaliers get worse, there's gotta be an actually pretty good chance now that the Celtics are gonna be the team that comes out of the Eastern Conference, right? I mean, that just gives so much opportunity for the rest of the East. And we still haven't talked about what this means for LeBron James, which is gonna be the topic of our 2nd season here. Okay, so in this scenario, the Cavaliers just lost in the first round of the playoffs. That's not gonna happen if their team was constructed something like this. But even if they don't lose in the first round of the playoffs, there's a heavy chance that LeBron James is going to leave. So we're just going to assume that LeBron James is gone here, because where there's smoke, there's fire, and if you're walking into the Cleveland Cavaliers stadium right now, you can't see. That's how smoky it is. I mean, we're not exactly sure why Kyrie wants to leave right now. He said he wants to be the focal point of the offense, and LeBron himself has said that he's blindsided by this. He didn't see it coming at all, so that's very interesting. But you gotta think that Dan Gilbert just firing David Griffin has something to do with this. Also, on Twitter, I just saw the 4 teams that Kyrie wants to get traded to. So again, we'll talk about that during the second season. For now, though, we're gonna go ahead and trade Kevin Love, because this is literally our team right now. Everyone else is an expired contract or is an option or something. Oh my god. Okay, right away, number 8 pick. Wouldn't be horrible. Jabari Parker. That's interesting. Okay, I'm gonna take this. If the Sixers had the 8 pick next year and they were rocking Embiid, Markelle Fultz, Ben Simmons was good, maybe JJ Redick stays, Kevin Love would be a good veteran to add to that team. And we're not getting too much for this. They're definitely not overpaying for Kevin Love, whose value is not at its highest right now. But maybe after a season without Kyrie, his value goes up a little because he starts to score a lot more points. Who knows? We're taking this trade and we're jumping into the NBA draft. Now, I'm very excited for this NBA draft in the future because as a Chicago Bulls fan, this might be the day that we get Michael Porter Jr. or Luka Doncic, still not sure if I'm saying that name right, or someone very good. For now though, number 8 pick, let's see who's available. Bruce Brown. I guess sure, we're just gonna go with the highest ranked guy here. Bruce Brown is a 72 overall. This is not gonna be a great season for the Cleveland Cavaliers, as it wouldn't be in real life though. They'd be pretty horrible. I'm sure the NBA would give them another number 1 overall pick though in the 2019 draft. Okay, so I'm just going to skip over free agency. The Cavaliers season's not going to really matter. We're going to be tanking, but we still have a lot to talk about with these Kyrie Irving rumors. So this is our starting lineup. Got Shelvin Mack. This would be the number 8 draft pick if the Cavs got that really in the future. Yeah, Wiggins, Dieng, Thompson. Pretty horrible. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to move Tristan Thompson. I'm not sure what his value is. I mean, the NBA is hardly a centers league right now. Same would go with Gorgie Dieng. In real life, it'd be hard to move those guys. So very interesting though. LeBron James went to the Spurs. Now, I'm very excited to see what happens in real life if this trade ends up happening, because LeBron James is gonna have some decisions to make. I mean, he's gotta be gone, right? Unless they bring in someone that's somehow just as good or better than Kyrie, which is very doubtful. LeBron is going to want to compete for a championship. He's at the end of his prime, or maybe he'll play till he's 50 and be amazing. Who knows? He's an alien, but he's probably going to be in the last few years of his prime. So he wants to compete every single year. Now, a lot of people are saying he's going to go to the Lakers, which I guess is definitely a possibility, especially if you got Paul George potentially leaving, maybe Russ ends up leaving, Cousins, who knows? What I do know is that the Rockets already have LeBron James' good friend in Chris Paul. They've got James Harden. He'd fit in there. And the Spurs, they've got Kawhi Leonard. They've got Pop. I just feel like there's a chance LeBron goes to either of those teams too. Maybe a better chance than the Lakers, honestly. So what this trade is going to do for us is give us LeBron James rumors for the next year, which, if anything, is at least very interesting. And so we've got the 4 teams Kyrie Irving prefers to go to. We already talked about the Spurs. We've already talked about Minnesota. He also wants to go to the Knicks or the Miami Heat. Now, the Miami Heat is very interesting here. Let's just pause this for a second. So first, if Kyrie wants to go to the Knicks, I mean, the only person they're really gonna give up is Melo? Are they just gonna do the Kyrie for Melo trade? I guess it could happen if Kyrie's definitely gone. And then they signed Derrick Rose. I mean, Derrick Rose, LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, Kevin Love. I mean, if we were in 2011 and you said one day those 4 guys were gonna team up, you'd think they were gonna go like 75-7. Now, they wouldn't even be the NBA championship favorite. I still think that team would have a very good chance to come out of the East, though. If Derrick Rose stays healthy, huge if, but if. So yeah, they'd have to give up Kyrie and someone like Channing Frye or something to make the salaries work. Now, the Miami Heat are actually incredibly interesting though, because we just do right here in the trade machine, we've got Goran Dragic, salary basically matches up perfectly almost, and then they add in any of the young players that the Cavs would want. I mean, maybe they end up trading Josh Richardson and Justice Winslow here. Maybe the Heat get away with only trading one of those guys. But the trade is here. The Heat do have some young pieces, and they do have the perfect contract in Goran Dragic. And Goran Dragic is a very good point guard, and he's going to help the Cleveland Cavaliers next year. So I think this is possible, guys. I mean, Goran Dragic, Justice Winslow, Josh Richardson for Kyrie Irving. I think that might be what ends up happening. Maybe the Heat don't give up 2 guys, maybe they only give up Justice or something, but it looks good to me. Obviously, if you're the Cavs, you don't want to trade Kyrie, but it looks like they are gonna have to if he is demanding a trade. And so let's just sim out these playoffs with one final thought. Kyrie says he wants to be the main man somewhere. He'll be the main man in the Miami Heat, scoring wise. He'll be the main man in New York, definitely. The Timberwolves, I don't think he's the main man. Karl Anthony Towns and Jimmy are already there. They're already established. I mean, Cat's established in Minnesota. Jimmy's established as arguably a better player than Kyrie. So maybe Kyrie doesn't really want to be the main man. Maybe he's just sick of playing with LeBron. I mean, I don't want to speculate, but saying you want to be the main man and then putting 2 teams on your list where you're not going to be the main man is kind of suspicious. Also, it's going to be very interesting to see what Kyrie does if he's by himself. Yeah, he was a young player when this happened, but without LeBron James, his teams were winning 20 games. A little bit of a stretch, but in the 2014 season, the Cavs, led by Kyrie Irving, went 33-49. Again, he was young. Again, he's gotten way better. But he is a score-first point guard who's not really a passer, which can be a problem at the point guard position, and he's a bad defender. He works perfectly with LeBron. LeBron is the perfect type of player to cover Kyrie's flaws. How Kyrie's gonna do on his own, I guess that remains to be seen. But if that's what he wants, then I guess we're gonna see it. So thank you for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this change of pace. I really want to just do these kind of videos for
in your
NBA
face,
rumors, things that
all
aren't
over
really
the place. We're online 24/7. 24/7. You're listening to the hottest internet station.
Radio Hall of Fame Basketball. The first NBA radio for all the fans around the world. Radio Hall of Fame Basketball. We talk about NBA. We talk about passion. We are your radio.
Today's July 21st, 2017, Friday, and boy, oh boy, things are getting very, very interesting in the NBA world. So, earlier today, or maybe a couple hours ago, Kyrie Irving of the Cleveland Cavaliers is been reported by multiple sources from ESPN, CBS Cleveland, multiple sources. It's being stated that Kyrie Irving has demanded a trade or requested a trade from Cleveland. He wants gone. He wants to be out of Cleveland. And everybody's shocked. Everybody just like, what the hell? This just came out of nowhere. A lot of people are pointing the finger at LeBron James. I'm just going to go out and say that. Multiple sources are saying that it's about LeBron James and the things that has been going on for the last couple months. Ever since this off season started, it's pretty much been LeBron James in the talks of the Cavaliers. Him possibly leaving Cavaliers after this season in 2018. It's becoming more evident, more hyped up that he's going to leave to maybe go to LA or somewhere else. You didn't hear really that much from the Kyrie Irving, and he seemed to be very concerned also about the team's well-being. Let me just point this out. It was stated that it was rumored that Kyrie Irving a couple months ago would demand a trade if LeBron James leaves. If LeBron James will leave next year, he said he wanted a trade to be gone from Cleveland. It was rumored. I'm not going to say this is true, but there was a rumor going on a couple months ago about this. I remember. I'm not sure if this connects to what is going on now, but it's just multiple sources are saying there's hostility, there's tension between LeBron James and Kyrie Irving. LeBron James has been stated that he is, disappointed, disappointed about Kyrie Irving's move. But at the same time, I'm going to put my 2 cents in. LeBron James, you've been rumored multiple times that you're going to be leaving Cleveland after this coming season, 2017, 2018. A lot, and you didn't really hear much response to these rumors by LeBron James. He was almost completely silent. He didn't really do anything about the offseason where they'll get some pieces, get some free agents. It was pretty much the front office doing mostly. Nothing much from LeBron James. And all you really heard from LeBron James is the rumors of him leaving. So now you have Kyrie Irving wanting to trade. If you're Kyrie Irving and it's pretty much like I said a couple months ago, like LeBron James is being rumored that he's going to leave. That pretty much everybody's going to be in a rebuild mode. The Cavaliers is going to be in rebuild when LeBron James leaves, because they're going to have to clean house, because there's no way they're going to beat a Warriors or possibly any other Eastern Conference team top tier like the Wizards or Toronto if LeBron James leaves. And if you're in Kyrie Irving's mind, like there's not really much hope in this franchise moving forward, unless you have the patience to wait until the front office can bring a team for you, because this team after LeBron James leaves or retires is not going to be good enough at all to beat anyone from the West, coming out of the West, either the Warriors, Houston Rockets, San Antonio Spurs. Is going to be tough. But I'm not going to really say that that's the actual problem here. I just don't know. This is what I'm thinking. This is a Cavaliers front office must be in a headspin right now, because this is your franchise player. This is the guy you're going to take to the future. The guy who's going to take you to the future, now asking for a trade. Rumored or this is a shocker. At the same time, there's nothing really much being said about the future of the Cavaliers after LeBron James leaves. Whether he leaves next season or retires, there's nothing really much being prepared for the future. So leave your comments below what you think about these reports. You think this is fake?
In your face,
it's just really
all
looking
over
like
the
it's
place.
real.
We're online 24/7, 24/7. You're listening to the hottest internet station.
Radio Hall of Fame Basketball. The first NBA radio for all the fans around the world. Radio Hall of Fame Basketball. We talk about NBA. We talk about passion. We are your radio.
Wow. All I can say is wow. If you're a Cavs fan, I mean, GG. We already know if Kyrie actually does leave, big GG. Kyrie Irving, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not familiar, if you're not staying up to date with those news outlets, not that stuff, but the real news outlets, Kyrie Irving, he told the Cavs that he's looking to get traded. Now, here's the crazy thing about this. Kyrie wants to get traded while LeBron is still there? Nah, Chinzos. Nah. He can't be serious about wanting to leave when LeBron is still there. He must be talking as if in a scenario, if LeBron were to leave, he's out. But let's just say he did say he wants to leave. If LeBron is still there, then that means LeBron really has no reason of staying there either. Even though they are in talks of picking up Derrick Rose, I don't care what nobody says. D Rose over D Will any day. I mean, he was former MVP. I mean, we already know they were this close to winning it all that year. Then the injury happened. But let's stay on topic. Kyrie Irving? Out of all people, who would have thought? Kyrie... You would think Kyrie is like having a blast. Ohio right now, Cleveland right now is paradise. Since LeBron went to Cleveland was, I can't use the term super team. They're not a super team. Golden State is a super team, and that's the standard. That's the standard. If your team ain't rocking with all-stars, MVPs, and scoring champions and unanimous MVPs, that ain't a super team. A super team is GSW. But a team like that, a team with LeBron, a team that's guaranteed to go to the playoffs, that's what LeBron's team is. And then you got your ring because of LeBron. Now you're talking about leaving? I'm not even, you know, I'm wearing the wrong hat. That's better. You know what team your boy Gentos is rocking with. So it's just like, wow. Down below, if I have some Cavs fans watching this right now, I want to know what you guys think, because this is like the most shocking news I've gotten all day today. I'm gonna have to hit my girl up and find out if she's preggo, because this is some shocking news. Slap that like button for some more NBA news and reactions and stuff like that. Subscribe if you're new. Thanks for watching, but damn, Kyrie, not
in your face,
though.
all over the place.
I mean,
we're online 24/7. 24/7. You're listening to the hottest internet station.
Radio Hall of Fame Basketball, the first NBA radio for all the fans around the world. Radio Hall of Fame Basketball. We talk about NBA. We talk about passion. We are your radio.
Did a trade from the Cleveland Cavaliers. He no longer wants to play with LeBron James, citing that he would like to go to a place where he's more of a focal point. And he's got 4 preferred destinations: the New York Knicks, the Miami Heat, the San Antonio Spurs, and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Kyrie made this request last week directly to the Cavs owner Dan Gilbert, and apparently LeBron James has been blindsided by his request. Ever since the finals were over, we've been speculating that LeBron James is going to leave again after this season, because the Cavs, it's not looking good for their future. They don't have any cap space. All of their players have no value. Nobody wants to trade for them. So how are they going to improve? How are they going to get better to win another championship? For LeBron, every season is win or bust. And this request from Kyrie, it shows you that even he doesn't know if LeBron is going to stay. Even he believes LeBron is going out the door. And he's LeBron's right-hand man. He's the number 2. He's very close to LeBron. So this is terrible news for Cavs fans. Le GM is gone. It's going to be a crazy 2018 free agency. Wow, even Kyrie does not have assurance from LeBron James that he is going to stay. And Kyrie Irving is a game changer for many of the contenders in the league. We've never really thought about Kyrie being available, but just looking at the teams that he's thinking of going to, the teams that he prefers, if he were to land with the San Antonio Spurs, ramen accidentally, or the Minnesota Timberwolves, I would favorite one of those 2 teams to win if that's where he lands. And then it's also interesting that he would like to go to the New York Knicks or the Miami Heat. That wouldn't make them championship contenders, but that would take them to the next. That would elevate both of those teams to the next level. Very interesting preferences from Kyrie Irving. But now we have to consider other destinations. Just because he has a preference doesn't mean that's where he's going to land. He doesn't have a no trade clause, so he can't control where he goes. But if those 4 teams want him, they should put up a strong offer and make this happen. But other teams around the league should also be chasing Kyrie, because LeBron is gone. He's not coming back. The Cavs roster it's terrible. The contracts make it impossible for them to seriously contend with the way that all the other teams are getting better, and they're not getting better. LeBron James is out. So teams need to go for Kyrie right now. Let me know in the comments section what team should chase Kyrie, and give me some trade scenarios. What players would make it work that you think the Cavs will take to make this trade? Because if LeBron leaves, Kyrie's going to lose a lot of value. They get the most value out of Kyrie if they can trade him before LeBron goes. But what else is interesting about this is that if they trade Kyrie, LeBron James might not make it to the finals. He's here with the Cavs for this season. He might not make it to the finals if Kyrie goes. Very interesting. Get the discussion going. What's that?
In your face, all over the place. We're online 24/7. 24/7. You're listening to the hottest internet station.
Radio Hall of Fame Basketball. The first NBA radio for all the fans around the world. Radio Hall of Fame Basketball. We talk about NBA. We talk about passion. We are your radio.